Have you ever heard a bump in the night and just brushed it off? That's what I used to do. When my wife and I bought our first home, we were ecstatic. It was an older place, needed some love, but it was ours. The first few nights were perfect, filled with the sounds of a new life starting. Then the third night came. Just after midnight, I was woken up by what sounded like construction, hammering, sawing, the low hum of power tools. I figured it was a neighbor, maybe a very enthusiastic, very inconsiderate DIYer. I rolled over and tried to ignore it, but when I woke up the next morning, something felt off. The hallway seemed a little narrower. The living room felt just a tiny bit smaller. I told my wife and she laughed, saying I was just getting used to the new space. But I couldn't shake the feeling. The construction sounds continued every single night, always starting just after the clock struck 12. The feeling of wrongness grew stronger each day. It was subtle, like a painting that's just a fraction of a degree off level. You can't quite put your finger on it, but your brain screams that something isn't right. I started to think I was losing my mind. Was this what they called new homeowners paranoia? To prove I wasn't crazy, I came up with a plan. I took a roll of bright blue painter's tape and carefully placed a strip across the top corner of every single interior doorway, making sure the tape was perfectly aligned with the door frame. I went to bed that night with a strange mix of dread and anticipation, the familiar sounds of phantom construction workers echoing from downstairs. The next morning, I woke up before my wife and rushed out to check my work. My heart sank. Every single piece of tape was misaligned. The doorways had shifted. Some were a quarter-inch lower, others a half-inch to the side. It was undeniable. I grabbed my phone and started snapping pictures, comparing them to the photos I'd taken the day before. The angles were all wrong. The shadows fell differently. It was the same house, but it wasn't. Desperate for more concrete proof, I downloaded a high-precision GPS app. I placed my phone on the kitchen counter, marked its exact location, and left it recording coordinates overnight. The next day, the results were chilling. Sometime between midnight and 5 a.m., my entire house had moved. 6 inches to the north. My house was migrating. I needed to know more. I dug through the mountain of paperwork we got when we closed on the house and found a thick, rolled-up tube containing the original blueprints. They were old, brittle, the ink faded to a pale blue. I unrolled them on the dining room table and started comparing them to the house's current layout. That's when I found it. Or rather, didn't find it. According to the blueprints, there should have been a small study just off the main living room, right where a solid, windowless wall now stood. There was no record of a renovation, no permits filed, nothing. The room had just vanished. This discovery sent me down a rabbit hole. I'd set up a security camera in the living room after the tape incident, hoping to catch whatever was happening. I spent hours scrubbing through the footage, night after night of sped-up, silent video. And then I saw it. At exactly 12:01 a.m., a shimmering distortion would appear against that solid wall. The image would flicker and warp, and for a few hours a doorway would materialize out of thin air. Through the grainy footage, I could see into the missing study. It was furnished, dusty, like it had been sealed off for years. But as the sun began to rise, around 5 a.m., the doorway would fade, the distortion would cease, and the wall would be solid once more. Every single night, a ghost room appeared in my house, only to be erased by the dawn. I was terrified, but my curiosity was even stronger. I had to know what was inside that room. I couldn't tell my wife. She would think I'd finally snapped. This was something I had to do alone. I waited for the next night, my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. I sat on the couch, watching the clock. 11:59. The house was silent. 12:05. Still nothing. Then, at 12:01, the familiar faint sound of a saw started up. I looked at the wall, and the shimmering began. The doorway slowly solidified. This was it. I took a deep breath, grabbed a heavy flashlight, and walked towards the apparition. My hand trembled as I reached out and touched the phantom door frame. It felt solid. Real. I pushed the door open. It creaked, a sound I'd never heard before in this house. The air that hit me was cold and smelled of sawdust and something else. Something metallic and coppery. I stepped inside. The room was exactly as it had appeared on the camera, but now it was real. Dust motes danced in the beam of my flashlight. And then I saw him. In the far corner, a man was working. He had his back to me, hammering a fresh plank of wood into the wall. He was wearing clothes identical to mine. The same old t-shirt, the same worn-out jeans. He was humming a tune, the same tune I always hum when I'm concentrating. My blood ran cold. I whispered, "Hello." The hammering stopped. He slowly, deliberately turned around. Looking back at me was me. It was my face, my eyes, but they were tired, hollowed out. He wasn't surprised to see me. He just looked at me, a sad, knowing expression on his face, and said, "You shouldn't be in here. We're not finished yet." He raised his hammer, and his eyes weren't my eyes anymore. They were dark, empty voids. I screamed and scrambled backwards, tumbling out of the doorway and back into my living room just as the first rays of sunlight hit the window. The doorway flickered violently and vanished, leaving behind the solid wall. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I just sat on the couch, shaking, staring at the wall where the room had been. When my wife came downstairs, she found me like that. I couldn't explain it. How could I? When I finally calmed down enough to check the security camera footage from the night before, my stomach twisted into a knot. The footage showed the room appearing. It showed me getting up and walking into it. It recorded my scream. Then, it showed someone walking out of the wall just before it sealed. It was a single figure. It was me. But the footage was too grainy to tell which one of us it was. The one who went in, or the one who was already there. I've been watching the footage over and over. That night, the construction sounds stopped. My house has been perfectly quiet ever since. The hallways don't seem to shift anymore. The GPS shows we're stationary. Everything is normal. But every time I walk past that wall, I feel a chill. I feel like a stranger in my own home. Sometimes, when I look in the mirror, I don't recognize the person looking back. And I can't shake the question that keeps me awake at night. Which one of me came out of that room? Thanks for watching. If you have a story that defies explanation, share it in the comments below. And if you want to hear more strange tales, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe out there.